Hello, I'm here to talk about synchronicities when it comes to deities. This is something that I believe in. This is something that I have learned from my deities, from Hecate, from others. But it is not something everybody seems to agree with. Now I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, I'm looking at the notes, okay? But why don't they agree with it? They say it's dangerous and all of this. Well, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm Sarah, that divination witch. This channel is a safe space and community, so you can ask questions, share opinions. We don't all have to agree. We just keep it civil. If you like that, hit subscribe. And if you want to support me or the channel, all of my links are below. I'd be grateful if you could take a look. I offer readings and I've got Patreon and I'm teaching different things on there. We've got a community, so go check it out. Thank you. So when we talk about synchronicities with deities, what we mean is that throughout different cultures, there are different deities that fit the same archetype, the same mold. So for example, you have sky gods, Zeus, Yahweh, Baal, Jupiter, Perun, Thor to an extent. You have love goddesses and fertility goddesses like Inanna, Ishtar, Venus, Aphrodite, Freya, many others that I can't think of off the top of my head. Over time, cultures, a lot of deities share the same, if not similar, qualities. Now, because we're in the modern age where we're more connected than ever and we've got all these different histories and time periods, we've got the information at our fingertips. We can synchronize these deities. We can say that they fulfill the same sort of roles. So an example I can give you, which I told the story on my channel, was when I did a deity confirmation for someone not long ago. It blew my mind because the person held a lot of religious trauma pertaining to Christianity. And so the deities they had come through off the top of my head were Osiris, Horus, Isis, Zeus. Now Zeus was instead of Yahweh. Horus was instead of Lucifer, Osiris instead of Jesus, Yeshua, Isis instead of Mother Mary. That's a synchronicity, that's an example. When this happens, it is not to say that they are exactly the same as one another. Horus is not exactly the same as Lucifer. Lucifer is Lucifer. Horus is Horus. They're both from different cultures, both from different backgrounds, but they do serve similar roles. They are both said to be the morning star. The morning star is a name for Venus. They are both said to be light bringers and knowledge bringers. They are both of the air and both protectors. And there are probably many other similarities, but they are not exactly the same. Now Lucifer himself has a big history and a lot of different takes on him. In the modern sense, a lot of people see him as a demon or a fallen angel. There are movements in his name like Luciferianism, and even that has many different takes on him. But his name, it began as a Roman god, the god of the dawn, the morning star personified, Venus personified. He was and is the light bringer as well. He is phosphorus. And if you dig into it even more, he's an aspect of Diana, he's an aspect of Hecate. They cross over because their epithets cross over. So deities, Hecate is not Lucifer and Lucifer is not Hecate. They are separate, but they cross over. Just as Horus is not Lucifer and vice versa. Now, what we can't forget, and a lot of people do seem to forget, is that synchronicity is not just a new thing. This is something that has happened since the dawn of time. Humans share, cultures share. whether that's for good or bad. We do. We share knowledge, we share beliefs. That's humans. That's what we do. A good example of this would be Isis. Now, Isis herself, well, she is complex as heck. She started off as Hathor and then became her own being as well as Hathor. Now, Hathor and Isis are not the same, but they're similar. Isis and her sister Nephthys, some say they're the same, some say they're different. Now, Isis wasn't just an Egyptian goddess or Kemetic goddess. She was adopted by the Romans in that time period. Now, the Romans already had a similar goddess in Juno, given that Isis is the mother. But Juno and Isis are separate, and Isis was still adopted by them. Synchronicities happen all the time. The Kemetic pantheon itself had deities like Anat from the Canaanite. Anat is a war goddess, if you didn't know. She was then adopted into the Kemetic pantheon because they were basically next door to each other, the Canaanites and the Kemetic people. And Anat was adopted as one of the wives of Set. But Set's wife's also Nephthys. All these things mix up and blur. Lines have blurred throughout history. Those who try and say that it is wrong are coming at it from a limited point of view. The only way I can think of it being wrong is if you are going to be doing a ritual with a certain deity and you go to invoke or evoke a certain deity. So for example, we'll pick Lucifer. You go to do a ritual with Lucifer, wanting to contact Lucifer in his modern guise, what we know of him now. You want to contact him, but then you call on Horus. That is not interchangeable. That is not one and the same. We can't remove them from their cultures and from their backgrounds. They may have similar roles, but if you want to speak with Lucifer, you speak with Lucifer. Now, Hecate is another that people try and gatekeep and say this stuff about too. I've had people poke fun at me over this. Hecate is so complex anyways. She's got her hand in everything. She is, in my view, the creator. But even if you don't think she is, that's fair enough. She has over 100 epithets, so many. You could invoke Hecate in ritual as Hecate. Just say Hecate. She will come to you as the form you need the most, you recognize the most, etc. She meets you where you are. You could call on Enodia, that means of the roads. Enodia was a goddess in her own right, but she is also said to be an epithet of Hecate. You could say Hecate Enodia. You could just say Enodia. Or you could just say Hecate, and if she needs to come to you as Enodia, she will. It's not going to cause a situation there because they're all one being, you know. In the PGM, which is the Greek magical papyri, Hecate is linked with Ereshkigal. Ereshkigal is the Mesopotamian goddess of the underworld. If you want to contact Ereshkigal, you say, Ereshkigal, come to me please. You know, well, not in those words. You would invoke her in a ritual. But who's to say that Hecate couldn't come along too? Like, who's to say that if you are calling on Hecate, a draconic aspect of her won't come through? Because she does have a draconic epithet, Draconia or something. Who's to say Medusa wouldn't come through? Because she does have an epithet called Gorgonis. I'm sure that's what it's called, Gorgonis. Which is like a Medusa's sort of epithet. It's a Gorgon epithet. This is just people trying to gatekeep and be some type of nasty way. as long as you are clear yourself, then the energy you are met with is what you will get. So if you are calling on Hecate, you will get Hecate. If you're calling on Medusa, you'll get Medusa. If you're calling on Tiamat, you'll get Tiamat. If you're calling on Aphrodite, you'll get her. They all have different epithets though, and they're all linked with other deities too. So if I'm calling on Aphrodite, I might get her war epithet, but I could call on Hathor. It is not one size fits all here. I have had Hecate and Trivia in the same room. I've done a video about it. Hecate catfished me for months to get me to understand epithets. Trivia is a goddess in her own right, the Roman Hecate essentially, but she's also an epithet of Hecate. So it is not, as these people would have you say, it is not dangerous. That's the only way that I could say it's dangerous. I'm just looking down at my notes. Yeah, so in my notes here I've put how Trivia and Hecate was the example for me. We cannot and should not try to remove them from their cultures and roles, but we must bear in mind that deities change and evolve as our own understanding changes and evolves as well. If you call on Morrigan, you will get Morrigan, you will not get Hecate. If you call on Hecate, you will get her in the way more suited to you. If you call on Brimo, you won't then get Phosphorus. Yeah, it's basically what I've said. Ignore these people, the edgelords. I've dealt with them yet again. You know, it's going to happen. You're going to have conflicting opinions. Do what is right for you. You don't have to subscribe to my beliefs or my understanding. Of course you don't. Make your own mind up. But as for it being dangerous and whatnot, that's phooey. It's as dangerous as anything else, essentially. So I hope this helped. Let me know if you've got any other questions. Check out the channel if you want to learn more. And until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.